5, 6, 7. Since I'm a non-voting, unless there's a tie, there's 6 of you here, which makes a quorum, so. Call meeting to order.
How many first one?
6.
Six.
We just make it. Selection committee to present findings in the search for the new coordinator. The only one that wasn't on the committee is Dale. Pretty much this was the committee. So, do you want to give a rundown?
Go ahead.
We had 12 candidates apply. Of the 12, I sent out, made a packet on each one. We did a packet of their application and resume and any letters that they sent. Anything that I received from a candidate, everybody in the committee received to make a determination. We had a meeting, I handed them out to the committee. I asked them to take it home and read it instead of doing that here that night. And rate the candidates by the information provided from 1 through 12, 1 being their best candidate down the list. We met a week later, and one of the candidates took a position at Floyd County. So we're back to 11. The committee sat down, we rated everybody we had. We had 3 candidates that we were going to pass on to this committee. And those 3 were Thomas Creighton, not in any particular order, Thomas Creighton, Ronald Vaught from Fort Dodge, and a Mitch Price. Well, back up. It was Steve. A gentleman from Buchanan County it was Tom, gentleman from Buchanan County, and Ron Bauer were our 3 candidates. In no particular order. The gentleman from Buchanan County found out what the salary was, pulled his name out. So, which is fine, understanding. He gave me the scenario where he is at right now, and I told him he'd be foolish to leave that. The benefit package he had there was by far better than anything Franklin County could offer. So that's how Mitch Price got up in the 3rd. Last week on the 28th, we had those 3 individuals come in for an hour and sat right here, and we had a go-around session. I would ask a question, Mike, around the group. Basically for 1 hour. Then that individual left. The next one came. We went through and I asked the committee to ask the same questions, and they did a good job of asking the same questions to all 3 so they could better judge their answers. I went through that. And then, of course, the 3rd individual came in. Once we completed all 3 interviews, they all had a full hour. They were gone. Then the committee sat down, and we went through and reevaluated. And is that the gist of it, gentlemen?
Right. I think we spent about an hour on discussion.
It was better than almost an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Just discussion among ourselves, trying to evaluate, and there were several good points, bad points on each one, and there were some of the minds were changed in the final evaluation. And the gist of the committee came up with recommendation of Tom Creighton as the candidate for the committee, for the coordinators. But I was rather hoping that our other gentleman would have been here tonight. Everybody got the email, so. But things do happen. These guys are pretty well. Do you know Thomas? He is actually the director of emergency medical services for Franklin Dental. He takes care. He's in charge of the ambulance and that.
Oh, okay.
And he indicated to us that he understood that it was a cut and pay from what he is receiving now. but it's something that he's worked for over the years. And I can attest to it. I sat on the first committee when O'Neill was hired, and Thomas did apply back then. But Thomas has built up his resume. He's taken FEMA classes. The only difference between Thomas and the other two candidates, the other two are already certified to be coordinators. But Thomas is well on his way to get it, so he'll have it in a short time. But he had numerous FEMA classes, Homeland Security classes, same as the other two individuals. Actually, all three of them were very, very well qualified. I would have been comfortable in one of them. So,
A lot of to the answers that the candidates gave during the interview.
I was impressed with all of them for various reasons. And like I said, I think Tom and his service over the past few years to the county already, I think everything is a level of comfort there for me personally, speaking myself. The other two gentlemen have a lot of education, and Tom's, of course, bring me up to speed on that as well. So, all three good things.
Ken, what was your
I agree, I think we had a pretty healthy discussion, because it kind of went around up and down with the people, and everybody entered their opinion, and it was, gave some really good viewpoints and some thoughts, and different people hear different things, and Tom kind of rose to the top of the discussion after we spent some time considering everybody, and of course, at least some benefit is local and most of the territories. So pretty comfortable with that.
Arlen?
Yeah, that Tom, like Ken said, he lives in the county, he's familiar with the county, he's dedicated to that. I think he's the best one.
And Bryce did email me a joke.
Oh, did he?
I'll get it to you. Because one of the questions, it's kind of unique. Arlen would ask him to tell us a joke. Just, it broke the ice, but also gave him more of an idea of the personalities you're dealing with. And two of them caught just completely off guard. And that's, I think, is what he was trying to do. And they all handled it well. And one did send one the next day after he caught it. But, Mike?
Yeah, all three candidates were really good. There's a couple qualities I was looking for in them, and narrowed it down to two, and then I narrowed it down to one. I know Thomas as well as a lot of other people. He's not a quitter by any means. He's kind of a go-getter guy. So he's basically doing what this job is at the hospital right now. So I think he'll know the South Road good.
You got any questions? Nope. And he does know what folk I said.
Oh, he does?
Yes.
He's a good guy.
Unless there's any further discussion, we'll call for a nomination for Thomas Creighton for us to extend an offer of employment.
I'll make the nomination.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same. Okay. Do you want me to try and contact him? He can't get here yet tonight? So, yeah, I'm gonna call and see if, unless he changes his mind, but I don't want you guys to get out of here before he changes his mind. Came to a sense or something. I'll do that. Next item on the agenda is the update on status of Hampton Franklin County Communications 2080. There was a copy of the Hampton proposal sent out. I do have a copy here if one of you members want to look at it. I'm going to let Mike and Sean discuss it right now for the moment, and I'll be right back.
I know.
So the only thing I'm saying is, I can't use the word agreement because both sides haven't agreed.
I understand.
That's why I said 2080.
I understand.
Why don't we give them some background and how it played into this? I'll start and you can jump in whenever you want.
Yes.
I think this has started a year and a half ago, at least.
I think it started before I came.
Yeah, before Sean was mayor, Supervisor Clagy and Ron Dunn and Hampton mayor was started negotiations, and then Supervisor Clagy became ill, and I took his place, and Sean was there, and we did some more negotiations, and things was going along, and they came to supervisors. It progressed, and we started doing some at the supervisor's office, and we was close, and then Mayor Deach took it to the city council, and then they tabled it because they wanted some changes. And then it came back 2 weeks later, a couple city council people came to the supervisors, we did some more negotiating, and then they brought it back to the council, and it was changed again from what we talked about. I think we've come a long ways. I know Mayor Deets has been super to work with. We've had a lot of conversations, and we've talked about a lot of things. And I know we talked about the end goal. We got to keep that in sight. And there was a lot of different variations to this, and the city came up with their variation at the end, and that's where it stands now. And I guess I have a couple of questions for Sean, but I think Sean should sort of explain what the city changed and where they're at.
Well, basically, the agreement that we first took to the city council, I didn't like, essentially. So they tabled it, thought about it, came back with some amendments, and the document you have in front of you is the proposed agreement that they passed with those amendments. Those amendments would include that the dispatchers who currently work for the city shall be hired by the commission, and that their seniority be honored and transferred to the city, or to the county from the city. They would not suffer any losses on their benefit package. Those are pretty much the highlights of what they wanted to see changed. Paramount among those is the job security of the dispatchers. Much discussion was the fact that they were uncomfortable with the wording of the document that was brought to them, where the dispatchers would be terminated and have to go through a rehiring process. I know we found out that the Cerro Gordo County agreement between Mason City and Cerro Gordo County, when they went through this process, had similar wording. So there's been precedents to that effect. So our council is comfortable with that language. And again, to kind of echo what Mike has said, the city and the county for a couple of years now have seen the end goal. I know Larry has been hypothesizing about the possibility of this move for a lot of years too. And so, again, the end goal is what I think has been agreed upon. It's just a matter of making sure that we get through the transition. And the transition is really kind of the sticking point between the two entities. Council voted on it as a means to keep the public informed as to where negotiations stand and to get them so that they can be on the record as to what they want to see in the agreement. And so that's where we're at tonight.
One thing I'll bring up, yes, Saragordo County, as chairman of emergency management, I asked Saragordo County what they did. What they did is, yes, the dispatchers moved over. Dispatchers moved from one law enforcement agency to another law enforcement agency. One law enforcement agency that had dispatchers to another law enforcement agency that had dispatchers, so it was a lateral. This situation, we're going from a law enforcement agency to a commission. It's not a law enforcement commission, it's a commission. You gentlemen. So there in that, it's not exactly apples to apples, oranges to oranges. One of the questions we have to answer before this young gentleman gets here, he is on his way. During the discussion, I was told that the dispatchers were referred to as county employees. Thomas is considered a county employee also. So does that mean we have to bring him at 5 weeks or whatever he has acquired at the hospital also? Which is not according to county hiring policy.
Well, I don't think you're bringing Thomas on with an agreement from the hospital.
No, but we are hiring. Franklin County is considered an equal opportunity employer. So if we do for one, we have to do for everybody.
Well,
Ron may answer that for you.
Yeah, we've discussed this, but I think that the difference, Larry, is that, like Sean pointed out, with the communications, it's part of the terms of the 2080 agreement. You have no 2080 agreement being proposed between Franklin General Hospital and the Emergency Management Commission. So it's not, the dispatchers aren't a new hire. They are part of a transition the wording is spelled out in the 2080 agreement. And I think that's the
Between the city and the county, right?
Pardon?
Between the city and the county, right?
And the Emergency Management Commission. They have to agree to it.
But we have not sat down here, and actually, we've got just about everybody here. The agreement that is drawn up, is proposed here, you have the city of Hampton, and the other supervisors establishing what communications commission is going to be. Now, you gentlemen here, as emergency management, you would be the same ones that would be on a communications commission. The board and the city have recommended that it just be emergency management. I'm not sure how they're gonna do the bookkeeping down the line, but that can be worked out. So, I'll be right up front with you guys. Emergency management was not involved in this agreement from the get-go. City of Hampton and the supervisors met how many times before I was involved? I was involved as your coordinator, not as the sheriff, because they will not be my employees. They will be your employees.
He was involved in some of the discussion earlier as the sheriff. And then things broke up and things went different ways. But I guess one question I had is, jump to the city, there's no mention in here of sick leave, because that was an issue in the other agreements.
right.
Vacation is spelled out, but nothing on sick leave.
The prior agreement, sick leave was spelled out as something the city would code, because that's something the county was not doing. The agreement that the city council passed they preferred wording that all of the dispatchers' benefits would transfer over. If that's the case, then the county would be covering it. If it's, the county would be covering it, they didn't feel the need that wording, they felt that was redundant.
Okay, you're saying that you felt that the hours that they had accumulated would stay with them when they went to the county. Okay, but the sick leave, not sick leave, excuse me, the vacation pay you're paying out before the promote, for the agreement, correct?
Correct. But when, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine.
If the employees are transferred over with full seniority, then if someone has 25 years in, then you just determine their accrual rate would then begin at that year of, with 25 years, whatever that employee would get, it would start accruing. They wouldn't come in here with a bank of sick leave that they would be able to use on day one. They would just be able to start accruing it as if they had 25 years of employment with the county.
Okay, well, I just understood what, that if they had 800 hours built up, they was coming on board with 800 hours.
That's how it was before, but not now.
Not now, they're coming with zero.
That's right, they'll be paid their vacation from the city, but when they start here, they're gonna have to start accruing vacation, sick leave, other benefits, but they have full seniority, so they'll accrue everything, whatever the county rate is.
Okay, that was clarification I was
Yep.
wondering about. And just to bring some of the members up to date, some of the agreements that we had talked about was first, you've seen in there how it divides the payments up and stuff like that, but then we also talked, one was that the city would, the employees would be able to keep half of their sick leave, or all their sick leave, and the city would pay for it first, what they had accumulated, and they could keep half. Their vacation time and their sick leave, they could keep half of it, started with half approved. And then it went to that they would start, then when Dick came in, and Diane, then we had talked about that they would start with about half the vacation time.
Yeah, that was a compliment, you guys.
Right.
That's how we ended up at the amendment. Dick and Diane brought the compromise to the full council, and Dick, you can speak to that. I don't think the full council was ready to hear that.
I think the biggest thing that,
Dale, do you know Ron Dunn, city administrator? If you go to talk, identify yourself. So we got Dale here, we want him to stay involved. Dale's the mayor pro tem.
Okay. One comment I've got, I guess I have a real problem with what's, been discussed here so far, but as far as their benefits coming on board, I mean, I understand that their vacation, you say, was gonna be
Well, we had different,
paid up, but then they will start, I mean, I understand their, I don't care if it's 20 or 30 or 40 years, seniority, they'll start at that seniority level. But I guess I feel their sick leave, all that should be start at zero when they come on, but their seniority would start whether they've got, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years,
I think we go up to 40 years.
or, well, yeah, I mean, even 40 years. I mean, I guess I have a real problem with anybody coming on with, say, 8 weeks, sick leave build up. I guess I don't have a real answer how to resolve that, but if they're coming on, they should start at zero, but then start accumulating it at their 40-year level or whatever.
Yeah, that's what it is. The city would pay out what they currently have,
But they accumulated.
what they've accumulated, and then when they start with the county, they start accumulating from their
Seniority level.
seniority, whatever they've got.
But that's vacation, sick leave,
Right.
everything, they're starting at zero when they're coming off the county, but they're gonna earn it at their seniority level.
Right.
And we had different forms of that at that time, because they were gonna start.
That's what's in front of you now. But I think for confusion's sake, I'd kind of like to deal with what's in
Right.
front of us now.
This is the current. Back to Mr. Lukenmeyer.
Well, one thing that's not quite clear in this agreement is that we voted on this, the county's maximum weeks of vacation tops out at 6 weeks, and our agreement maxes out at 5. So we have 2 employees that currently have 5 weeks of vacation, and they would be maxed at 5 throughout the balance of their career, based on the agreement that we propose.
Right. And council discussion on that was, dispatchers were asking for their service to be honored, that they had served for the previous 20, 30, 40 years, whatever the case may be. And so they're asking for what they earned. We'll give them what they earn. With respect to what the county had previously proposed, we're going to go above what they served. So,
Back to Mr.
Dale, I think your concerns are addressed very directly. There's no carryover that the commission is going to be responsible for, either in sick leave or in vacation pay, correct, Rob?
Correct.
There were some of the things talked about in previous negotiations, and there was trade-offs for those things, so.
There's been trade-offs back and forth. This is the latest right there.
And this is what the city has passed and nobody else has passed.
So as the chairman, I have no, Harlan? I'm not telling a joke.
No. The first year they will earn 5 weeks vacation.
if that's what their seniority calls for. Yeah. It's all dependent, there's 4 employees that would come over, and they have a range of, we've got a 1-year employee all the way up to, what's really 4?
9 on
So
board.
that means they don't start over with 1 week in the first year. They'll
No.
start over at their grade, at their
At their-
seniority.
Right.
So do we need,
Right now, county attorney says, is our attorney for this commission. And he says, we have to wait till the supervisors, which set the hiring standards. So once these 2, I'll sign on. I'll bring it to you guys and we'll go with it. But until those 2 parties agree, there's not a lot we can do. Because we cannot sign it unless the supervisors do. Because it still is a county entity, and our county lawyer says, I think it's gonna happen, but it just,
how far apart are you?
Or
How far apart are you?
Hey, I've got an agreement passed by my city council.
Far apart to have to sign it yet.
They're sitting close together, so you gotta try.
yeah, we're friends, we're
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, no, I think the city council in this agreement addressed concerns that they have. I think if the supervisors, I would expect the supervisors, if they're not willing to pass and approve this agreement, I would expect them to amend this agreement so that we can see exactly where we're at. I kind of view my position in this as needing to get people on the record. We have city council on the record. Once supervisors amend this agreement, then we'll see where they're at with it, and we can go from there. So that's kind of,
Yeah, and we've done some negotiations, and now they took a different angle, so.
right. Yep. We had a lot of meetings before we got to where this is at. So, time to get everybody involved. This is where we're at.
So basically, the county is negotiating for this board?
No, they're,
We have to
they're,
negotiate.
they're doing the communications. They're doing the agreement that this commission can't take over anything until we get the bylaws established. Emergency management, yes, but communications, which is just a simple fix. I mean, that's not gonna take much. But the issue is, this thing's been going around for 8 years. 8 years ago, I was told by a council person that it would never happen. I mean, there was threats of not allowing zoning and stuff, so it's not just something that came up. We've worked through all that. We will get this worked through too. Communications will not stop July 1 if we don't get this thing squared away. It's gonna continue on, but we're using July 1 as the push date to try and keep things moving along.
Well, it can't happen by July 1 now anyway.
I think this agreement says September 30th.
Yeah, because we gotta get equipment in here, so,
Well, I've gotta get new quotes because
yeah,
the quotes that I got,
they're outdated.
well, like I told the one guy, I says, don't do a whole lot of work on it yet because we're not sure where the equipment's gonna go. The 911 equipment has to be replaced. That's a given. Whether it's replaced here or it's replaced the existing, it will be replaced. So, because we will not jeopardize the public safety. So,
What appears to be the biggest stumbling block?
Well, it had been, the largest piece of the pie had been essentially the employees and transferability. I think what the city council has proposed is the cleanest agreement that's been put forth. This is probably number 9 or 10.
Yeah,
This has been
12 or 13.
12 or 13, okay, because they lost count.
Yeah, because I got 11 here, so.
Yeah, so, I think this is the cleanest way. I mentioned at one supervisor's meeting that if you would have told me a year and a half ago when we started this, that we'd still be talking about it, I'd call you crazy. Because I don't think it's that difficult to move employees from one building to another, to move equipment from one building to another.
And I've agreed with you on that part.
You have agreed. So, I think what we have here is clean, and I think it transfers well. All three entities have to agree to it. So I would suggest if you guys, look at it and have concerns with regards to emergency management, certainly voice those and express those. Because the county does not represent this body in these negotiations. You guys represent yourselves. This body represents itself. And so,
Yeah, because when we had the city council tables at one time with seniority, we came back and we addressed some of that. We came part way.
right. There was compromise, and basically my advice to the council at that point was, listen, let's put it all on the table. You tell the supervisors exactly what you want to see in this agreement, and so that's what they've done.
And the reason we're waiting for the supervisors is they furnish the benefit package. So,
Well, we will introduce
yeah,
on if we can transfer, because we are an equal opportunity employer. And it's totally different than what Saragordo County did. And just because Saragordo County did it doesn't make it legal if it isn't legal, which we don't know. We're waiting for some opinions.
Well, I differ a little bit on that, only because I think you can have two, or in this case, three entities throw together an agreement, and I think whatever they agree to. We we had a gentleman on the phone in that one meeting, from Des Moines tell us that there's 99 different, options here. You know, and so I think if Franklin County and the Emergency Management Commission and the City of Hampton say, yeah, we're gonna honor, these employees and we're gonna bring them over, then I don't know, it would trouble me greatly, I think, to see what law would forbid that.
Well, I think we want to visit with the employment attorney to make sure they're fine.
How long before they get back to you?
I guess at least a week. I guess we don't want to do something and end up being sued, and I'm sure the city doesn't want that to happen either. We're just, we want to err on the side of caution.
I'm all for it, I'm just curious who's gonna sue you.
You never know.
Well, and some of this wording too, I guess, sort of concerns me. When it says you shall, that's a real concern.
It's saying that we hired an agreement before so that they had preferential treatment to be hired.
Right.
And if they weren't hired, they would be notified in writing why.
You know, I guess that word was troublesome to me.
And that's
You know,
what we,
when they want to quote it, all of a sudden,
that's why
it
we
says
said,
shall be transferred, it shall be compensated, that's by the Hampton. And,
that's why we said we wanted an employment attorney recommendation on that shall.
right, I mean, I understand that.
I think that's the only issue that the board has, that the document that came from the city, right?
That's it, yeah, well, I'm not gonna speak for the rest of the board,
Well, that could change tomorrow with them.
so
Yeah,
I will not speak for the rest
But
of
for
the board.
you don't have any, that's pretty much the issue right there. So gentlemen, you've been updated at where they're at right now. Any other discussion? Mike? Discussion on anything? Marlon? Ken? John? Dale?
Hey, I'll meet you.
Dale? Nope. Well, gentlemen, beside me, I have our sacrificial person here.
You read through the benefit package, and you read through that, and you understand it.
Do you have any questions of this commission before we make it official? Give you one last chance to back out. Okay.
What I was getting into on the application package.
At 8:10, I guess I can offer him. Yes,
Can I say something?
sure.
Hi, I'm Jeannie Hunt. For those of you that know me, I do this rather easily, but I am a dispatcher for the Hampton Police Department and Franklin County Sheriff's Office. And first, I want to congratulate Thomas. Congratulations. Today, I also want to say congratulations to Jody. It's her 9th year with the Hampton Police Department. We sit here and we listen to this as if it's other people. This is our lives. This is what we have done. We have saved people. We have saved kids. We've done it all. And it just doesn't seem like it's us, like it's people. We love our jobs. We love what we do. And we're good at it. We're good at it. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
I'll second that. They are very good at it. There's not one there that I wouldn't hire. But it's not up to me. So. Because that's being on the commission, being the chairman, I'm non-voting. I just referee. offer you the job, if you will so accept it. You've seen the benefit package, you know what the salary is, you know what the hours are. We understand that you have to give 4 weeks' notice to, so. Any questions? This is your last chance.
I'll send them the, or I'll write the letter tomorrow. And I just have to be, excuse me. First of all, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to serve you as the county EMA. But I do have to give you some upfront that we'll have to work through a couple of fine details because of the position I had there as the only respiratory therapist. So we'll work those out as we go. But
You stated that.
coming July
That was,
4th or whatever it is.
that was
I'm here.
in there, so.
I think that was talked about afterwards.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement.
That was brought up too, so.
Okay.
With that, I'd like the first one.
Thank you.
Aboard.
Thank you.
You're stuck. Okay, next meeting date. Any you folks, gentlemen, want to get together? Think you'd have an answer in a week?
I do that one, but
Yes.
you said a while ago, but he is the county employee now?
No.
You're not.
He is an employee of this commission. He
I
answers,
mean, when he's working for the hospital.
Oh, no.
No, that is not a county employee.
but does not use tax dollars.
He uses tax hours, but the hospital has their own levied line. They do not get money from the supervisors.
So what does he come to talk to you guys about then?
He has to come and tell us what he is levying for ambulance. And
So it's not a county ambulance either,
it is not, he doesn't,
but he gets county tax dollars for the ambulance.
he gets tax dollars levied by the hospital. It is not levied by the supervisors.
Clear as mud.
It's a,
Answer that, Arlen. No.
There's much.
But he's still under the county benefit package.
Not now. He will be when he
Will
works.
be. No,
yeah, it's
when he comes on board, he will be.
just completely different.
He will no longer be FGH.
Franklin General stands completely apart from Franklin County. There's no money transfer ties or anything like that.
Is there anything that the state emergency management board could do to speed up this decision that you guys have? Or is there anything we can do? Or we just sit it out, you guys figure out what needs to be done?
Ask to vote on it. That's what you're gonna do. My understanding is, apparently the county attorney says that the supervisors have task force. That's what.
I was told that the agreement that he saw, which is one I have here, he recommends not to sign. So I'm assuming if he's gonna recommend that to supervisors, he would recommend that to me. That's true.
Okay. Okay,
It's very simple.
Well,
Get it signed and
yeah,
we'll move on.
well, but my point is that all three entities have to vote on it and have to agree to it. So there's,
Well, this is a very agreeable group here,
I understand that.
and we're not the holdup.
But what I'm saying, my point is, could this board vote on it prior to the supervisors to get to Mike's question? Because Mike's asking if we can expedite this situation, I think is what I'm hearing.
Well, just get it rolling, get
Right.
this in place, and we all want this to be done, but if our county attorney's telling us.
Well, it's rolling. That's the issue.
Right.
But I'll be the devil's advocate here. What will we accomplish if we vote for it? And then they come back and say no.
Sure.
We have not cleaned up the situation, we have not sped up the situation, we just made it muddier. We're gonna agree to whatever those two entities come up with. I mean, it's,
Well, you
That's
don't
their
have-
job, not ours.
You don't have to, you still can have your own opinion.
Well, I think this entity could vote on it, at any time. And then you have two entities that have approved it, knowing all three have to approve it. But then it's the supervisors that have to say, okay, that's fine, you two have approved it, this is our issue, so if you will agree to that, then, but, no, I think this commission could vote on it at any time, so,
And I think there's different opinions of different people on who should vote on it first. And I'll have one of those.
So,
I would say not to call a meeting until there has been an agreement between the city and the county. I mean, if you're just gonna call a meeting for this only. I think
well,
that
no,
agreement needs to
no,
happen
because
first.
we're gonna have to keep moving forward. Because we now have to, whether this agreement gets signed now or later, you're still gonna have to establish the communication side.
Okay. I understand what you're saying.
Because
Okay.
the bylaws that are set up right now,
Need
we
to
only
change
cover
it.
emergency management.
Need to change it.
We need to, well, we need to change it, we need to add to it to make sure, because we have to pass two audits, so we gotta make sure that we have it addressed in there as to the communication side. See, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have, it's gonna be the same, it would be the same individuals, but this agreement was everything under just emergency management. Like I said, we had earlier discussions, dealing with holding cells. I didn't want to put you guys in the liability of being keepers of the jail. So that stayed with the sheriff's office. So,
Larry,
what I will do, yes,
you have any comment? Just to give the commission a little background so that you don't get the feeling that the city of Hampton is kind of a renegade, trying to ramrod this language related to shall, that the employees shall be hired, that their seniority shall be, it's strong language, but it's language that the city council firmly is committed to, for the current employees. But we researched the legality of using that type of language. Our city attorney, and it's well known that Supervisor Everling is particularly, this language gives him heartburn, to speak. But I contacted the Iowa League of Cities attorney in Des Moines to obtain his opinion on the concept of this full transfer of city dispatchers to EMC with full seniority, with no application process being offered to the public, because Supervisor Everling's concerns seem to center around the ensuring that the county is complying with equal opportunity laws and things like that, which is, that's great, but that's why we researched it. And Mr. Timmons at the League of Cities position mirrored that of what the city attorney, Mike Cross, his opinion is that Section 28E is designed to set forth certain standards, procedures, and details, terms, showing the specific intent of the participating entities of the agreement. And he felt that the approach taken by the Hampton City Council in approving specific wording such as Hampton Emergency Dispatch employees shall be transferred to and employed by EMC. He felt that that wording was not unusual and was in fact common in 28Es. His opinion was that it's acceptable and it's similar to language found in other 28Es and serves as an example of why Section 28E in the Iowa Code exists. That's what it's here for. It's for entities to put together terms of an agreement, and if they all agree upon it, then that's what goes. So, with this language, there would not be any job openings. You wouldn't seek applicants for anything. There's no open public hiring process. The 28E states specifically that current employees shall be transferred. So, just a little history, so you don't think that we're trying to fly under the radar, legal-wise. Thank you.
Where's the equal employment opportunity act in that as far as county?
We are,
I know, but I mean, what's the,
and we're trying,
that's what you're trying to find out, what the whole legal ramification of
and
that
I'm
is.
not the chairman, so.
And I'd like to just make one comment, if I could, in regards to the employees. I know, I sit here and I listen to all this and I get confused with all the numbers and all the wording and all that. But the reason we are here, because we know there are people involved. I would just like to make that
Thank
clear.
you. Thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Dick?
You made a comment as far as muddying the water. I guess I just wonder if it might clear the water a little bit if the commission had an opinion. Certainly, there's not an agreement yet by all three parties, but I wonder if it might be beneficial to moving things forward. I think all three entities realize it's a good move for the 911 services to be here. And I wonder, if there is a consensus with this group, I think it could clear the water.
Well, it's on the agenda to go.
We can't have the,
Well, you can't have a vote, but I think
We
it's
can
vote
have a
for
vote.
consensus.
We can do a consensus, but you two and me and Thomas, so it's basically you four. Which is not.
I guess I don't have a, problem with the whole concept. It's basically the word, and that word shall, and I take nothing away from the employees. Their dedication, their years of service, I have no problems with that whatsoever. But I guess when somebody, regardless who it is, steps in and says, you shall do this or you shall do that, I have a real problem with that. When you're talking, a commission type thing. I don't have a problem taking, the transition over. They start out with their however many years of service they've got. But I know, that E28 agreement, I know what that says. But there ain't nothing saying we can't change the word shall to, will be transferred or, I just got a real problem that says you shall do this. That's my personal opinion.
It's kind of the first I've heard about it, so I'm in agreement with them as far as the package that kind of got set up in honoring their service. And like I said, I deal with them, and I think they're great. And it's a pretty tough job that I would never imagine doing, ever. I couldn't do it. But as far as the wording and stuff, as long as it's legal, let's get them in there and get it going. But as far as the package and everything, I think you did a great job, and the city of Hampton's done a great job in honoring their vacation. And as far as coming over to county employees, I think that's great. So.
Harlan? Kent?
I don't have any problems. Actually, with any of the language, I understand the shall situation, but I think, the way I'm reading it here, I don't have a problem with it in this contract here. I wouldn't have a problem with it the way it's written, approving it.
What is the reason they're being transferred from city employees to county?
The real reason? Give them more space.
That's what they're talking about, space.
Well, space, but they also will no longer be city employees. The city will not be paying out as much either. There's no tax savings for them, and the county's gonna be picking it up. But it's gonna be picking up through the commission, through general supplemental. So you're moving the tax load from part of their tax load from Hampton to the county. So county's gonna pick up there, but it's give the employees more space. And Ron is very cramped for space over there at the present location, just for the police department.
The city won't have any financial.
It's in the agreement, the percent that they pay.
Yeah, they'll pay a percentage of it.
Yeah, because
It's not a free ride.
we had meetings with all the cities, and one time we talked about the per capita we felt might be the fairest, and the city says, you know, the small towns, I agree. There's no way the small towns, I think, what did we say, it was $20-some per person for dispatch services, and there's no way the small towns can come up with $10, and that's why we started looking at alternative ways. You know, one thing when we, the county, you know, the city put in the county's lap, and when we came to the city, when I came to you that one day, the one thing that's never changed has been the financial arrangement.
Right.
That the county proposed to the city, that the financial arrangement that we proposed to them, that's one thing we haven't had any problems with, and I guess that's what I thought was gonna be the stumbling block, was the financial arrangement, and that's been the easiest part. It's been, I'm like Sean, I thought this was gonna be signed many months ago.
Well, then I would say that you can take board consensus of the voting members here.
I will.
That answer your question.
Did I ask you a question? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Next meeting date. Any suggestions? Can't have the summer off.
Well, he said he needs bylaws.
We got, it'll be towards the end of the month. Now,
When's our normal meeting day?
what's normal this
I
week?
don't know.
We have a, which Tuesday?
Second Tuesday. Second Tuesday every month don't work.
Second Tuesday
That's
for
council.
The second Monday.
Okay.
Second Wednesday.
Okay. So second is Baron says. Alexander's wedding.
Tonight.
Tonight.
When's this meeting happen?
Second, fourth, Monday and Thursday.
Do a workshop on Monday and
Workshop on Monday, full on. Yeah, every week is better.
Third week.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, my Tuesday one, if we have it at 7:30 here, that won't be a problem, because council's at 6. Or either make that after.
No,
Unless we have a real lengthy.
that's if they have a lengthy schedule. Well, let's shoot for the third week, shall we? That way,
In July?
June.
Okay.
I'm moving ahead here.
Okay.
I don't want this thing, I don't want this to die. The only day that I won't agree to is the 24th of June. That's my birthday. That's in 2 weeks.
Tuesday's about the only day that's gonna work for that week.
I'm not guaranteeing anything, like I said, I'm not sure.
How about the 25th? Let's go to the 4th week, that way they get their answers.
That was your,
No, the 24th.
oh,
We'll go to the next. I don't party that hard.
I was gonna say, you'll be recuperating.
I don't party that hard. I'm not lazy. 7 o'clock work on Tuesday, there's no council meeting on 25th, so.
No, yeah, 7 o'clock work either way.
Maybe you get here back before the sun sets, you know.
Yeah.
Should we shoot for the 25th then, 7 o'clock here? I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Ken, I heard.
Yep.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same, they want to stay here by themselves. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.